Hi, my name is Megan Trowbridge here at Campus Recreation. I teach cardio kickboxing here at Campus Rec. My experience is in martial arts, so what I try to do for all of my classes is I try to break down all of the basics so that you know how you're throwing your punches and kicks. So what we're going to start today is, this is actually a supplement to my article, Fighting Form, Cardio Kick Like a Real Fighter. So I'm going to show you the basics of how to box. So whenever we take my class, what I do is all the punches are based around boxing style. So the first thing you need to know is your hands, you need to make sure you have a proper fist. So your fingers come in just like this, and you bring your thumb across, just that first finger only. A lot of people try to make their fist extra tight and they bring it across too far. You want to make sure that you have it right across here so that it can support those first two knuckles. So now that your fingers are in, thumb is in nice and tight, imagine your fist being like rocks. You want to make sure your hands are always up. I have you do this even though you're not actually fighting someone in class. It's important to practice it like it's real life. So you want to make sure that both hands are up right by your temples. As you get tired, you'll notice that your hands will start to drop down. Try to really work on that. That's a good habit you want to have. So both hands should be right up by the temples here. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure your eyes are straight forward so that they're right on your target. You want to make sure your chin stays down. If your chin stays up, okay, that's opening up your target. You want to make sure you have as little openings as possible. So your chin should be ducked, hands are up. A lot of people bring their elbows out just like this. The fact of the matter is, with your elbows out, your arms and your upper body are just going to get a lot more tired. So you want to keep your elbows down. This will help you later as you are on defense and you're protecting your body. So again, hands up, chin down. The next thing you want to do, and this is one thing that a lot of people struggle with, is having the shoulders hunched up. When we're walking around in everyday life, you want to have good posture. So boxers have a tough time getting used to doing the opposite thing, shoulders shrugged up. But when you do this, you'll notice when we throw our jabs and our crosses, that when you have your shoulders hunched up, you're protecting your jawline. So by having your chin down, your shoulders up, you're eliminating the possibility of your opponent getting into that jawline, which that's where knockouts tend to take place, right in that jawline, especially at the top. That's your knockout zone. So hands are up, chin down, shoulders shrugged slightly like you have a towel behind your neck. And what we're going to do first is we're going to learn our jab. There are 4 basic punches in boxing. We have jab, cross, hook, and uppercut. Those are your 4 basics that you need to know. So our jab is a straight punch, and you lead with the front hand. So when you're in guard position, my weight should be slightly forward, okay? That way I have a little more power, and that way I can move. I want to be on my toes. So your heel should be slightly lifted. So what I'm going to do for my jab is I'm going to use my shoulder, my elbow, and the turn of my wrist. All 3 of those things. So my fingers are pointed up when they're in guard position. When my hand comes out, what happens is I'm using my shoulder to execute forward, but notice that my elbow is coming from inside here and it's twisting out. So as soon as my fist comes all the way out, that's when my elbow turns all the way out to the side. So when I do that, I do it the same way to recoil it. So recoil is essentially just bringing that hand right back in. So my hands are here, I slowly bring it out, and notice my elbow and my fist are turning at the same time. So it's not just extending. Your hand isn't already straight out from your forehead. What you're doing is you're slowly twisting as you're striking out. Now make sure you don't hyperextend your elbow, so that's why it's important to get a good extension with your elbow out, but as soon as it extends all the way, you need to pull it right back in. Okay, that helps the speed and intensity of your punches as well. So from here, I slowly bring it out and pull it right back in. So in real time, it's going to look just like this. And when I do it from the side, you'll notice here, I'll go in left guard this way here, you'll notice with my chin down and my shoulders up, it's always important to keep that back hand ready to throw that cross or whatever else I want to throw. And again, you're protecting this half of your face. You're blocking this side in case they try to hit you on this side. So from here, this punch slowly comes out, and you'll notice you can't even see my face when I throw that punch because my shoulder is blocking it and my chin's pointed down towards my chest to help for that extra bit of protection. So that's my jab. For my cross, this one's a little tougher for people because they forget you need to pivot. It's essentially like your jab, but because it's coming from your backhand, you need to make sure that you pivot so that your shoulders are square and so that you can have that extra reach. You'll have a little extra reach, and your backhand's always your power hand. So if you're a righty, you're typically going to fight out of left guard. If you write with your left hand, you want to fight typically out of right guard because that backhand is always most powerful. You really have your body weight behind it. So again, my backhand's right up here. It's the same principle of my jab. What I'm doing is I'm slowly twisting my wrist and my elbow out, keeping my chin down, shoulder up, same thing. You can see there's barely any opening. As long as I can see just a little bit, there's a little bit of a peephole in between my arm and this fist right here. Okay, so when I do this, I'm pivoting on the ball of my foot. So from the side, you'll notice my fist comes out and I'm slowly turning into it. That gives me extra power and it helps me get that extra reach. So from here, we have our jab, cross. Okay, don't forget to pivot on the ball of the foot. So just lift the heel, pivot on the ball, and bring it right back in. So for our hook and our uppercut, those punches are a little bit different. A lot of people get hooks confused with elbow strikes. A hook punch comes in from a little bit closer of a distance. So typically fighters lead in with jabs and crosses, those types of combinations, so that when they're close, they can get a really powerful hook punch in. That's where you see a lot of knockouts take place. But you have to be in close for that, so you have to lead in with a few different strikes. So to break down a hook punch, you're still hitting with the first two knuckles. You still have that fist, fingers in, thumb on top. Same thing. But with this one, you're going to keep the backhand here, as you would for a jab or cross. What we're going to do is you're going to lift your elbow. For this one, what you're doing is you're driving this fist across, but you're using your body to do it. Again, the three major points to remember: shoulder, hip, ball of your foot. A lot of times I see people swinging just like this. The problem with that is you're leaving a big opening and then you could get a hook countered on you. So what you need to do is, again, same principle, shoulders should stay in, nice and tight, and use your body to really give you extra power. If you're just swinging your arm's not going to be strong enough to give you the full power that you need and that you want. So you're going to lift your elbow up first, break it down that way until you're used to it, until you're conditioned. You bring your elbow up, again, keep that shoulder right by the jaw, and again, you pivot on the ball of your foot, moving that hip and that shoulder for good torque. Bringing it right across. So that fist is going right to the top of the jaw or the side of the head. That's where that hook punch would go. So we have jab, cross, hook. Now our uppercut's one that's a little tricky as well. This one's the only one that you're coming from vertical. The other ones are straight punches, and the hook is pretty much the same, except you're lifting the elbow and it's coming from the side. So jab and cross are from the front, hook from the side. Now the uppercut, you really need to have good leg strength for this, and not a lot of people know that. You want to make sure that your hands are up like usual, back up nice and straight. A lot of people swing the uppercut just like they swing their hook. You really have to be mindful of having the hands in close. What you're going to do is you're going to do sort of a U squat. I'm going to put my weight on my back leg here. As I come to the front, that hand drops a little bit. That's okay, because you're in a good position here where you're not going to get hit down here, and this hand's already up to protect. So you're going to bend down. As you start to come up, that's when this hand can release a little bit. And what you're going to do is, as your legs straighten, as you come up, you're using the power of your legs and your arm power at the same time to pop that uppercut up. So using your first two knuckles just like any other punch, but it's just coming from a different place. And your elbow is going to stay down versus our jab, cross, and hook. Our elbow ends up coming out to the side. So you keep it in nice and close. It's still there to protect your body. You come up in a U, so weight on the back leg comes on up and pop, just like a spring. Think of it that way. You keep it in nice and close, and as you come up, it releases, giving it more power. If you're just swinging, you're just using your arm power, and that's not going to be good enough. It's not going to give you the impact that you want. So you're going to put your weight back, bring it to the front, and release. And again, this can go to the body or to the chin, just so you have a visual as to where these punches are going to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn and show you that hook one more time, just so you can see it from the side. I'm going to bring my elbow up. Again, my foot, hip, shoulder, driving it right across. The stronger your pivot is, the more shoulder power you use, and the more you utilize that hip the more intense that hook punch is going to be. And I'm going to show you from this angle my uppercut. So my hands are here, again, elbows in. You need to be able to protect the body in case someone is throwing an uppercut at you. Anytime you throw a strike, you need to be mindful of those openings. So I duck down, come on up, and pop. Duck down, come on up, and pop, and this hand stays right here. So again, a few of our basics just to recap everything. You want to make sure nice tight fists. Always make sure they stay right up by your head and never down here. They can't really do anything down here, and they're going to be a lot slower when it's time for you to throw those jabs and crosses. So keep them right up here, chin down, eyes forward, shoulder up. You want to have your toes pointing forward, weight going forward. This is your good natural body alignment. That way you can move around in a circle when it comes to actual fighting. And then you have your jab, cross, hook, uppercut. Okay, and that's all for today. Stay tuned for the next clip.